Here we go, Vintage Cube. Right off the bat, not really anything super powerful. Memory Jar, Mystical Tutor, maybe Faithless Looting, High Tide if you really want to go into Storm early. Signets are always good, but you don't want to first pick them. Krakus is good hate, but not really a first pick, so it's Emrakul. I don't know whether I'll be sneak attacking, shallow graving, channeling, show and telling. Who knows how I'm getting this Emrakul out, but that's what I wanted. So there's Zealous Conscripts and Pestermite if I really want to go for the Pestermite combo and then hope for like a Through the Breach. But you kind of have to go for the Mox, and then if by some, odd chance I can get Channel, very unlikely, then I could have a first turn Channel Emrakul, which pretty much unbeatable. Can't be countered. You're immediately dealing 15 damage, and they're starting from no cards. They have to have like land, Mox, Chain Lightning, Fire. So here I could grab another Emrakul, but I don't know if that's what I'm doing. I grabbed Green Suns because it's more versatile. I can get either my big thing or potentially try to go for Raphaelos, and then maybe cast Emrakul off 6 Forest, Raphaelos, and the Grim Monolith or whatever. So I'm planning on doing Green Ramp, and I need to be so here. Caryatid is the only thing for the deck that I want. There's Phantasmal Image, but once again, I'm not big on it because it's dependent on there already being something big in play. There's Corpse Dance. I could try to go for the Corpse Dance Emrakul deck, but then it's I probably won't be using this Green Suns. Corpse Dance is a little expensive, so if you're trying to do a 2 or 3 mana discard outlet and then the Corpse Dance, that's 6 mana to throw the Emrakul at someone. And if you haven't done any damage to them already, they basically go down to 5 and have a chance to rebuild. So it's not that my favorite. It's not my favorite strategy. I'd rather be solid reanimating than shallow graving, corpse dancing. So here we go. Maybe I will increase this playback speed just a teeny tiny tad. Speed faster. 1.5x and video back to full screen. This dead time is why it is so hard to stream Magic the Gathering, because you gotta fill the dead space. Emrakul, the Aeon's torn, more like the butthole's torn. Am I right? Woo, 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 woo. Mox Emerald, more like Mox Emrakul. So here, I get the Raphaelos that I wanted. There is a thought to the Ramanam Excavator and trying to do strip mine things. There's also an Animate Dead, but that doesn't work with Emrakul. I think now I'm sort of solidified into this deck. I could either go Garrick or I could grab another big thing. 10 mana Ulamog is in the range of castable. It's a 5th turn spell if I have Raphaelos out and only Force. The double exile trigger makes it very powerful. I kind of like it more than Emrakul in my current situation, assuming I don't get Channel. Then it's I could go Drainage Tournaments. I'm not big on Drainage Tournament. Other people are much bigger on it. I go for Kozilek, another 10 mana, potentially 5th turn thing with the Raphaelos. You draw more cards. If I have Channel, I now have 3 Channel outlets, and I also have all 3 Eldrazi, not the OG ones. The Ulamog is ruining my collection, but hey, 3 Eldrazi is 3 Eldrazi. I get to do 3 Eldrazi again? What am I looking for? I'm looking for Nissa, because so here, Turn Timber is great. It only counts as a land. It's a way to cheat out all these Eldrazi, and I can play it on turn 4 if I have Raphaelos. Technically turn 3 if I have Mox Emerald. If I go 2nd turn Raphaelos, 3rd turn I have only Force and then Emerald. That's a 4th turn potential Eldrazi. Now, it has to be in the top 7, but hey, if I have 3 big things and... Okay, so here I'm just going to grab the poopy Mana Dork. High Tide's a little late. Faithless Looting, I love too much to see it right now. There's nothing for me here. I just grabbed the Realm Eater because maybe what I'm pointing out here is if I Symbiosis out the Realm Eater, it has 3+1/+1 counters on it, and then I can inherently use its effect. So I can either get another Eldrazi meh. I'd rather go for the Garruk. I need things to do in the mid game between poopy little piddly rampers and the game ending with my Eldrazi. I need ways to get there. Also, Garruk helps me find creatures that I need. I grab Winter's Orb because I'm using creature-based mana sources, which means the Winter Orb doesn't lock me down as hard as most opponents. Grab the Taiga. Because I have Rafellos, I want all of my lands. And I get the other Garruk back. Both Garruks. Woo! And I get the Drain Turret. So here, this is a tough one. So there's Ancestral, one of the best cards in the game, let alone the cube. But there's this Noble Hierarch I need. Also, this Lotus Bloom means I can cast these Eldrazi's on like turn 5 and 6. So it's very tempting to not take the Ancestral. I honestly think it's correct not to take the Ancestral. Spoiler alert, I don't play it. I don't, because I need specifically Force, and the Tropical Island already passed, but of course I grab it because, it's Ancestral. Here, there's a few things with Pelucranos. Heartbreed of Spring is another way to play these big Eldrazi, although dangerous because it gives my opponents extra mana, and it'd probably wheel. I grab Natural Order. I don't have a payoff for it yet, but classic Sylvan Carry to 2, Natural Order 3 can end the game if I can get a Progenitus or Terastodon, and to a lesser extent a Woodfall Primus. So here, another tough decision. I know the Raymond Excavator is already gone, so I'm not big on the Strip Mine. There's Finale of Devastation, which is amazing because it's versatile and allows me to use my library as a resource. Mind Twist, which is good with like Rafellos, even though I then am playing black. There's the Nissa that I need to ramp up, and this Progenitus. So I'm going to let y'all guess what I do. And the answer is Nissa. While I need the Progenitus for this Natural Order, I figure Progenitus is much more likely to wheel than this Nissa. And right now, I really don't have that many mana dorks. I have like just as many Eldrazi as mana dorks, so I need to be able to cast these Eldrazi. Nissa really helps that. And I'm like, it really hurts my heart not to grab the Progenitus, but I know Progenitus might come back around. Nissa probably definitely won't. So that's that. Here, there's Time Twister, and there's Harmonize, but I grabbed the Woodfall Primus so that I definitely have a Natural Order outlet. I'm feeling some FOMO after passing that Progenitus. You don't want your biggest Natural Order thing to be like, well, I Natural Ordered out a Deranged Hermit. Whoa. I did a whole video where I basically ripped on a green ramp opponent for having Mox Diamond in their deck, so it'd be hypocrisy for me to grab it. I just grabbed Cultivate. I was saying Cultivate gets a lot more force out, and then Rafellos is good. So here, I could grab the O-Stone, but I'm going for the Cursor. Courser of Crufix is like the ultimate anti-red card. Its toughness is just big enough to usually not get burned out. It's gaining you life. It's giving you card advantage. It can block their little like goblin guides and stuff. Oh, you'll see later. Once again, spoiler alert. You play Courser and red gets shut down. So the deck's a little slow in that. Look at my 1 and 2 drops. I'm not doing anything basically until turn 3-4. I need to solve that. I need to highly prioritize mana dorks, or else my deck is just going to glut out. Here, nothing. So there's Vorinclex, which is like a decent outlet. I'm not super big on Vorinclex. It's kind of new, so it's hard. I've seen Vorinclex do some work, admittedly, in my past drafts. It's been played against me mostly. So I'm thinking like, well, it has haste. That's powerful. Man. So here I could either Freyalise, but once again, I have enough, like, 4s and 5s. I need things to get there. So I'm going to grab this Dryad, both because if I can play extra lands from the top of my library with Courser, I can go faster. And it gives me blue for this Ancestral. Noble Hierarch both gives me blue, and it's ramp, although I would also love that Lotus Bloom. So my deck's starting to get more reasonable. I need like 5 more 1 and 2 drops, to be honest. If I'm being honest, I need like 5 more 1 and 2 drops. So things that probably won't make the cut. I'll probably Courser and Dryad in the sideboard. I mean, I know what I do because I did it. I will probably Vorinclex for maybe specific. So I want the Pelucanus, but I'm grabbing the Heartbeat just because it's a way to cast, especially the Kozilek and the Ulamog on turn 5, is dangerous because you're giving the opponent the opportunity to do things. But if I have enough ramp, like if I have Rafellos and 5 mana, so I get the Progenitus back. I really still want this finale. It's tempting, but the Natural Order Progenitus just wins so many games. Once again, spoiler alert, Harmonize. I'm not playing Bowls of Citadel. I'm not playing Lionines. I'm definitely not playing Agadeems. Yeah, Vorinclex and Deranged Hermit probably in the sideboard. They definitely have some functionality, and there would definitely be a game where I wish I had them main deck. But I win this draft, so I did the right thing. So, Ancestral. There's another Ancestral, which I'm like, 2 Ancestrals, wow. The Stone's Coil, which is a great mana outlet. But now I'm looking at this Oath of Druids, and I'm like, I don't have that many mana dorks. I have a lot of big, fatty fatties. Maybe there's a time when I would sideboard out my piddly mana creatures and sideboard in Oath. It's such a strong card, you have to consider it. So here, Scavenging Ooze is amazing. It's hate against Reanimate. It's hate against some control decks. And Storm, and it is once again another card that late game can really just win you the game against Burn. But Library is good against every single opponent. And with things like the Turn Timber Symbiosis, you can know at least the top 2 cards of your library to see if you have an Eldrazi. If you're using it with things like Cultivate, you can get rid of the worst cards and shuffle. Here, I could finish my Eldrazi set, but I did that in another draft. This draft needs mid-range things, so I leave one of the siblings I leave at soccer practice. I'm so sorry. Even though I already have an Ulamog, so I can still say all 3 Eldrazi. So Gargaroth does just shut down games. I'm probably deciding between either Gargaroth or Arbor Elf. I don't have enough cheap things. I have to grab Arbor Elf. I'm leaving 2 children at soccer practice, both the Elder Gargaroth and the even Elder Infinite Gyre of Ulamog. Here, it's tempting. There's Show and Tell, which, Progenitus, Emrakul, Kozilek, Ulamog, etc. Like, I'm going to have the biggest Show and Tell thing, but I don't think this is that deck. I think I want as many forests as possible. So now the decision is between Acidic Slime, which is a good, It's a good toolbox thing to have to like Green Sun into to get rid of a powerful whatevers. But I need the early drops with the Findhorn Elves. Oh, it hurts my heart so much. And now, because Rafellos and Nissa specifically need force, and I know the tropical island is gone, I think the breeding pool is gone as well. It's like, do I really want to play Ancestral just to have Sylvan and Noble as ways to play it, and then maybe the Dryad? So here, there's the top, because I'm shuffling my library. There's the Yavimaya Elder, which is good for value games. But the Wall of Blossom, I'm lacking early drops. Wall of Blossom is good against aggro decks. It's perfectly fine against aggro decks. So what I'm doing on the left here is I'm making a pile of cards that will probably not make the main. And then in that second pile is cards that count as lands. So right now I have basically, those 5 cards are probably not going to make it on the left. So here, there's Wall of Roots, which is great, or Devoted Druid. And I take the Devoted Druid because it gives you 2 extra mana. So it ramps 2 into 5. 2 mana on turn 2, so I can get the Nissa earlier. Or I can Green Suns for 4. Or etc, etc, etc. So I think it's slightly better than Wall of Roots. Also, in the overall course of a long game, it makes more mana. Wall of Roots has a maximum 5 mana. So here, Biogenic Ooze, but it's just survival. I can use survival early to get Rafellos or Courser if I need it. And then late game, I can use it to get my Eldrazi or Woodfall. Also, if I draw the Progenitus and I need it in my library, I can get rid of it. I have no other real discard outlet. So I'm getting rid. It's so hard for me. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I have these cards that can get me Ancestral Recall mana, but this is another tough one in that Atarka is castable-ish. Nature's Claim is great control, but Whisperwood Elemental is a very good card against hedging against wrath effects, in that you can sack it and then all your mana dorks become creatures again, and then you against blue-white control, you're not completely dead in the water. Woodfall, that's one of the advantages of Woodfall over like Terrastodon as well, is if they have a wrath effect, you get to keep it. So this is what I'm thinking my main deck is. There's Scavenging Ooze. I think that's another sideboard card. If I had the space in my deck, I would definitely play. And then there's like Gargaroth came back around. What? Am I the only person playing green? What? Gargaroth. I get... Oh, I'm sorry I'm so late. It's hours after practice, but I finally picked you up. I get the slime back too. This makes me feel confident that I found the pocket. And then even the last pick, Biogenic Ooze. I found the pocket in this draft where cards were worth more than what they were being picked as. So now I have to sideboard things out, and mainly it's the mid-range creatures that I'm worried about. Maybe I have too many top end cards. Like maybe I could get rid of like Kozilek. But that's not fun. Where's the fun in that? We're playing Vintage Cube. So I have Heartbeat, Raphaelos, and Nissa as ways to play these big things. So I'm fairly confident I can consistently get them, especially with the survival to at least get the Raphaelos. And now I'm just like, okay, Gargaroth seems to be... So between Gargaroth, Whisperwood, Biogenic Ooze, Acidic, Vorinclex, Deranged Hermits, and Scavenging Ooze, I have to decide which ones are the most general, which ones will be useful in the most matchups. So I go with Gargaroth is good against control, and because you can draw cards. It's good against aggro, you can gain life. It's good against other different like non-burn aggro, and that you can make 3/3s. It can attack and block. It's very versatile. And what I worry about Whisperwood is that I'll be exiling my Eldrazi into 2/2s, and then they'll be permanent 2/2s. So here we go, 14 lands. I have the Emerald and the Turn Timber. So technically I have 16 land and a bunch of mana dorks. Maybe a little bit on the high side, but hey. And then now I'm going to, one second, as I speed this up so that y'all can watch more content faster. Speed faster. And away we go. Video full screen. So what am I hoping to not be? I'm very weak against early combos. I have no interaction. So I need to be faster than my opponent. So like reanimating an Iona kind of shuts me down. So here we go. This hand is great. I both have a Natural Order on turn 3 and a potential Raphaelos into Kozilek. My opponent already playing 3 colors and a Sylvan. I'm like, that maybe means they're doing slow value things. So I feel pretty confident that I'll be able to get out this Kozilek. They're Sylvaning. They have this, and then they get red land. I'm like, what? Then they get a Signet and they Renin 6 my Raphaelos, and I'm just adequately confused. So I don't play the Heartbeat here because I won't be able to cast Kozilek next turn, and I don't want to give my opponent an extra turn with the double mana. So I think on turn 4 I will Heartbeat, and then turn 5 I will Kozilek. Hope that is good enough. And now 4-color deck opponent. I don't know. It's like I don't know what they're doing. And they mind twist me. Luckily, I keep the Heartbeat and the Kozilek, and then I draw Cultivate. So now I will still have 5 lands. The turn has been pushed where I can play this Kozilek, but like, here's the thing. even if I lose this game, because my opponent has a great start and is ahead on cards and positioning, against a 5-color deck or 4-color deck in Cube, I'm not too worried. There's so much variance, like I'm not worried. This game I know I'm losing, especially now that they have the Strip Mine and the Ren, so I'm like, oh, I will always be at 4 mana. I'll always be just behind where I need to be. So what I need to do is, now I'm assuming they're going to Strip Mine me again. I need to draw one last land so I can Kozilek, and I am in a little bit of trouble on how fast these tokens can kill me, and then how Kozilek only makes them sacrifice 4 permanents. So there's the 5th color. They are, in fact, all 5 colors. So now I'm really not worried for games 2 and 3. It's just so hard. Like they have fetch lands, okay, but they have like 2-color Planeswalkers and like I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like, all powerful cards. Don't get me wrong. When you play 5 colors and then they play Golos, and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So here, I am dead. I'm dead. They can attack for 8 between the Celestial Colonnade and the tokens 2 turns in a row. I need to gain life. I need to Gargaroth, and the problem with that is they can Oko my Gargaroth. So at this point, I know that game 1 is theirs. I don't think there's anything in my deck I can draw. I can't, like, this is the game when Vorinclex could have won it for me. So here's the disappointing part. Watch. So I think I'm about to be attacked with Celestial Colonnade. That's what I'm touching it. I'm like, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? I think they're gonna use Golos. I don't know what they're doing. I think they should have attacked me with the Celestial. So now they have balance, and I'm like, what balance? And what is? I mean, their deck is, powerful spells deck, but they're also playing Strip Mine in a 5-color deck, which is super greedy. Like, maybe they're playing 19, 20 lands or whatever. So they are tapped out, except for 1 green/white. They are at 5 life. If I had Vorinclex, they would be dead. But I still think it is correct for me not to have Vorinclex. I searched my library just to did I not? I see that I don't have Vorinclex, and I don't want them to see anything else in my deck. So I go, okay, bye-bye. Okay, you can have it. So now I'm like, do I sideboard now in Vorinclex? I sideboard the Acidic Slime because I figure if I can get rid of one of their lands, especially one of their dual lands, it could be game over. And I don't. So boop 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 boop. 1 second. I'm doing this something live. Okay, so Great Hand, gonna ramp up into the Nissa, then gonna ramp up into Green Sun Zenith. They're blue mana. I'm like, meh. So I devoted Druid now because next turn I can Green Sun for Acidic Slime, and I can kill one of their lands. They Mystical Tutor, and I'm like, oh, they're getting balance. I'm not too worried about it. It means I probably should have Caryatid so that I could devoted Druid now, but they have to get rid of a card. I wasn't dependent. Luckily, I have enough lands where I'm not dependent on those mana dorks. And then you draw Progenitus. You always do. So I have to go for Raphaelis so I can get this Nissa. And then this Progenitus will just be a dead. So yeah, look. My opponent is like, okay, what are they doing? They're stumbling around. The 5 colors is a drawback. If they Wrath again, I'm a little worried. But they're spinning their tires. Knight is strong because I know they can get Strip Mine, and then Strip Mine can kill one of my creature lands. But now I'm like, oh. So here's the thing. At first, I thought I couldn't cast Ulamog because I have 3 lands, which each produce 2 mana. That's 6. Raphaelis, which produces 3 more. That's 9. But if I don't attack with my lands, I can untap one with this. I can Ulamog, take out your Knight, which allows you to find whatever, and then take out one of your duels. I get rid of the blue because of Oko. Boop, boop, boom. Writing the names of these. And here we go. 24, 36. 24. So here is an interesting hand, and that it's a very risky keep. It's very risky. But I figure I have enough mana dorks. If they balance, they won't have any lands. I don't know if I've seen cheap artifact removal that they have at Vindicate. I don't know. So I'm just like, okay, I'm going to start making mana dorks. Here we go. And, next turn now I have potentially, if I draw a land, 5 mana. I can get rid of one of their lands, and that would pretty much be the game, I assume. Also, they're playing Thraben Inspector, which is like, I guess is early, decent. So I assume they're going to get Noble Hierarch, A, for this slightly better attack, and then B, because it gives them multiple colors. So now I'm just like, okay, well, what do you have against Natural? I doubt you have Daze. So what do you have against Progenitus? The 2-turn clock. Yeah, that's I haven't seen anything from them. They could balance, but as I know they have 2 creatures, they'd have to either kill their own creatures or I'd have to block. So if they attack with this Inspector, I probably won't block, because then they only need 1 removal spell and they can balance Progenitus away. So I'm just chill. I will let them hit me in the face for 2. I take them down. It is good that they take this damage so they can't draw as many cards with Sylvan. And that's why Natural Order is one of my top picks for Vintage Cube, especially with Progenitus. There's just, unfortunately, so little counterplay. It's just one of those combos. Well, I mean, technically, they did have an answer to it. Just the way they set up that game was not. So I'm against potentially mono red. I know my mana dorks aren't going to survive, so I'm like, okay, yeah, I figured that. Now it's between Wall of Roots and Devoted Druid. And I'm like, well, Wall of Roots can block their 2/2. But do I Wall of Roots and then Noble Hierarch, and then I can't block their 2/2 if they make it a 4/4? And I go, you know what? Sure. I want to be able to Sylvan Carroted out my Gargaroth. And I can do that faster this way. So I'm not blocking. My Wall of Roots is a 0/4. I kind of want them to spend their mana upping their figure. They continue to play controlling, which I kind of like. I kind of like, in that the big thing that red is going to have trouble with is my big things. So they need to get rid of my mana dorks in case I go crazy with them. Here, I'm just like, you know what? If you want to kill my Garrick, I will block with this Wall of Roots, because Wall of Roots gives me 1 mana. A Garrick gives me 2. And then I know that they're going to be spending their turn pumping. Now it's out of the Garroot. Now it's painful to pay life here, but I think I'm going to Garrick so that I can... what I want to do is I want to... Other Garrick, make a 2/2. That's going to block. Untap 2 lands, play the Survival of the Fittest, and then hopefully next turn I'll have 6 mana between untapping Garrick and my 4 lands. I'll be able to ditch the Avacyn Pilgrim, get the Gargadon, and then hopefully that will be game over. And in the meantime, and then I just draw with Sylvan the Gargadon, and I'm like, well, I don't want to pay any life, because once again, I'm against mono red. They could firebolt me. So I have 6 mana, so I can I can upgrade this. Right now, I think I'm just gonna get a mana dork that is flexibly unburnable. And now, because they're not anywhere as close to the Figure of Destiny leveling up, that game is mine. Greatest Gargaroth, I mean. So here, I'm just sideboarding in. I don't need the Eldrazi. Let me roll that back for a second. I don't need the Eldrazi to win this game. I don't. I can also. I don't know if the game will last till turn 5, so that I can, Raphaelis will definitely die. That's not a way to get Eldrazi. Heartbeat of Spring. Once again, I need it, and then turn 5, so I should probably sideboard that out too. But yeah, Courser is just an immediate win against red most games. Scavenging Ooze is great. Biogenic Ooze creates a wall. Wall of Blossom buys me time. Whisperwood also buys me time. So I'm just thinking, like, how can I I don't want the Heartbeat. I'm playing to Natural Order out my big things, and then this is my deck. 2929 is the timestamp that I need. 2929. So they have a lot of. So here's the thing with 1 second. Things are going blazing fast. So they have speed out, but like they play the most important thing to do with this Abbot is to get a land, in that you're functionally drawing a card and you play a land for free. But because they played it on a turn they already played a land, kind of wastes that for them. And the Mox Diamond, like, look how few cards they have in their hand right now. They're getting tempo, but like, So here I have a decision. Do I Courser and potentially have it die before I have a chance to use it? I say nope. They Black Lotus. Once again, they have all the tempo in the world, but I decide not to block their 2/3 with my 0/3 because if they have another spell, once again, I know I'm going to be gaining life with this Courser, so I'm okay. I play the Courser, I gain a life, and then I get a wall out in play, and that's very, very hard to win. Yeah. Courser of something. Okay, so that played out exactly. It's hard for red to win against those cards. That's why I drafted them. That's why I put them into my sideboard. Great. This is potentially a turn 3 natural order, so I'm like, okay, sure. And then it has a backup Heartbeat of Spring Kozilek. They brainstorm, so I know they won't be countering my mana dork. The problem though is if they leave counterspell mana up on their next turn, like, you don't want a natural order. And then of course I draw Progenitus, which is like, the worst to draw Progenitus. Progenitus. No, bad Progenitus. So they Vendilion me. And it's interesting what they choose, actually. So they see the Progenitus in my hand, and maybe they assume that this is with the natural order from, but they leave me with natural order, which I would not do. So I get rid of their land. I figure if they have a Swords or Path, the white man is what would allow it to happen. Now I have some time to develop, and I'm like, do I Heartbeat? I don't want to Heartbeat yet because 4 mana gives them like control magic, etc. I'm happy with this trade-off. So now I attack. They condemn, and I'm like, oh, poopy baloopy. But now I have a Gargaroth, and now I'm about to make the biggest mistake I make in this. So they, no, not yet. I'm about to make the biggest mistake. So they Jace, and I'm like, am I really gonna have to sit here and just keep playing Gargaroth, getting it bounced? So they don't bounce it, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting thing that you left me with my Gargaroth. What are you doing, Boone? So they attack. Gargaroth has reach. Gargaroth, remember everyone, when this next play happens, that I hate myself. So I'm like, I didn't think they were going to attack, and then they do, and I'd already like F6, and I was like, no. So I'm in full tilt mode right now. I'm like, I can't believe it. I'll make a 3/3, fine. Great. I'm so angry at myself right now because I'm like, maybe they keep bouncing things and they attack me for 3 in the air, and there goes the bounce again, and I'm, oh no, William, you didn't. So I try to kill the Jace. Yep. Okay. Not only would they not have the Vendilion, but I would have potentially another 3/3. So now I'm like, you know what? Take a turn. Take a turn with some extra mana. And then of course they counterspell. I'm full tilt here, so I'm just like, you know what, fine, I'm probably not gonna win this draft anymore. I'm getting negative in my head, the one thing you should never do, and I'm doing it. William, no. Once again, I have a natural order setup. I know that they have some counterspells in their deck, so I'm like, you know what, here, take the card I don't want. Other Jace is neutral to make tokens, so it can sort of make tokens forever. So that's why I decided to keep neutral Garrick instead of the Garrick that I got counterspelled. Now I get to kill their Narset. I could have natural ordered, but I'm thinking like maybe they have counterspell. Having a Planeswalker in play will make, or maybe they have a Wrath, and having a Planeswalker in play gives me a lot of leverage, and I can keep playing. Now I have 2 Planeswalkers in play. They'll be hard pressed to answer this even with a Wrath. Now, yeah, if they do Wrath, they'll get rid of some lands. I'm just okay. I don't know what this red is for. Maybe that red is for Splinter Twin, and I need to leave that, like, kill that as a potential backdoor for them. So I get some of my value cards. I figure I'm not going to be able to play these Eldrazi. First, I have to keep a Rafellos, the 3 mana enchantment thing that ramps mana. Heartbeat. So I have to keep a Heartbeat, Rafellos, or Narset. I have to resolve one and keep it in play, and then play the Eldrazi. It's just, with counterspells, too risky. So instead I go for some value things. 1 second, 35, 36, 35, 30, 26. And this hand, once again, I have Progenitus in hand, but I potentially have a turn 3 Garruk, which can grind out value. I like that. So here we go. They repeal. I'm fine with that until they Mox Pearl, and I'm like, they're getting value. But luckily, this Wall of Roots allows me to ramp up now to 5 next turn. Very lucky that I drew that. They don't do anything, which I go, suspicious. I thought I was getting, so I play the poopier Planeswalker. Unfortunately, I tapped the Wall of Roots because I thought I was going to attack with the Avacyn Pilgrim. So now it's like, oh great, this whole Jace thing again. But the good thing is, like, Jace loosely affects the board with like minuses, but Nissa and Garruk affect the board with zeros and +1. So in a Planeswalker battle, on the board, they kind of win, assuming, you know, cards from our hands don't tip the balance. So now I can Garruk, and now I'm just making an army. And once again, even if they have a Wrath effect, the turn after I can make a 3/3 haster and a 2/2. So I'm feeling pretty confident right now, everyone. My Planeswalkers are better than yours in this situation. Just this situation. So I go to Harmonize. Now I have Gargaroth. I'm worried about Wrath effects. So I'm like, you know what? What do they do? Unfortunately, they have Cryptic, and I'm like, no! No, great card. Stalls me out. Once again, it has only stalled. They have not dealt with my ever-increasing wall of creatures. I had to play Sylvan because my lands don't make double anymore without Nissa in play. They're trying to find answers. I imagine like a balance or a... now, if they balance, I don't have enough mana to play Nissa anymore, so it does become troublesome. They then Gear Hulk to Cryptic again, stall me out again, and I'm like, what, opponent? Bah! So now I have options of, like, the turn after this, I can attack with my 3/3s, and so now I'm like, what do I do? I keep the Whisperwood, and I keep the land on top, because I know that this will remove the land, manifest it, and now the one thing I was fearing, a Wrath effect, I have an answer for it with Whisperwood. I would get 4 just for the cards, the 2 mana producers in the lands. They Fractured Identity it. I can't afford to give them a Whisperwood. I don't know why they wouldn't have fractured one of my Planeswalkers. Maybe the small Garruk. Maybe they just drew it. I don't know. So here I have a decision to make. I'm trying to hedge against what they could have. Like... do I Gargaroth, which kind of plays into Wrath? I think no. What I plan to do is I want to Green Sun Zenith out my Woodfall Primus. So here I'm thinking like, ooh, if I attack both of my 3/3s into Jace, one of them will kill it, or I can suicide one of my 2/2s instead. So that's what I choose to do. No more Jace. And I play Baby Garruk to A-make blockers and start increasing my army. And if they have a Wrath, once again, now I have an army maker in play already. They attack. Of course, I'm blocking. I'm assuming they're going to Wrath after. They don't. I keep one land so I can have something to play. They Vendilion me, and I'm like, oh, no. But guess who has enough mana to Woodfall Primus? First, I'm going to... I could do a lot of things, but I want my... I don't know if this is correct, to kill the Vendilion. It's their only flying thing. I see it as the only threat to me, like, winning this game. So I get them down low, pick them up slow, Green Sun Zenith to get rid of this red. Once again, I'm worried about a Splinter Twin backdoor. So technically, I have enough to kill them next turn if they swing for the fences. They show this pile. I don't want to give them an extra red with Wandering Fumarole, but it does come into play tapped. Sheldock is also dangerous because it is anything, especially if they're trying to Kiki Jiki Splinter Twin. However, Expansion Explosion, if they have that with an extra red, they can hit me for a lot, draw many cards. And then Riftwing, this is how I split, as you see. I think this is correct. And then now they take 2 damage. They have double red, so they can Splinter Twin if they can Pestermite or Deceiver Exarch or any of those cards. So now I'm like, ooh, wait, I have my Woodfall Primus. So first, what? What am I getting? Oh, Vorinclex. I'm getting Vorinclex because they have 7 life. They can only either block one of these 2/2s and take 8, or block the Trampling Vorinclex and die. So Vorinclex is here, and Vorinclex wins it for me. So I am glad that instead of Eldrazi, I have a hasting thing that is sort of Planeswalker hate, and woo-wee trophy! Ooh-hoo-hoo! Green ramp and 3 Eldrazi yet again, but the green version. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please actually like it on YouTube. It helps me out. I appreciate it a lot. If you really like this video, leave a nice comment. I really appreciate those. It helps me to keep going. And if you really, really like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. That would help me out the most. Thank you so much. Catch some other videos. And I got it in under 45 minutes. Whew! What other Magic streamer does that for you? I don't know. Have a great day, everyone.